This is my Animal Kingdom science project. Alright, so let's start off with characteristics of the Archaebacteria kingdom. So they are prokaryotes. They don't have a true nucleus, so they don't have a center part of them. They're unicellular, which means they basically only have one cell. They are autotrophic and heterotrophic. They live in very extreme conditions, like just very hot temperatures. They're chemically different from the eubacteria, and they reproduce asexually. Their cell walls are also made of peptidoglycan. I can't really pronounce that. So I have two examples of Archaebacteria. I have the Thermococcus littoralis. They're found in deep sea hydrothermal vents and thermal springs. They live up to extreme temperatures of around 85 to 88 degrees Celsius. So that's really hot. They use amino acids for their energy sources, and they grow in non-reduced rates, so they grow pretty quickly. My next example is the Halochondra walsbian. I don't know how to say that either. It's alright. They're found in hot but salty areas. Their cells are square-like shaped, and they have thin and flat cells. Their cells come in sheets. So I'm going to show you two illustrations here. This is the Thermococcus littoralis. That's kind of what it looks like. Around here, these are just kind of coils around here, and then that's the center of it. And then this is the Halochondra type of Archaebacteria. Alright. Okay, so next on to the eubacteria. Like the Archaebacteria, they are prokaryotes. They don't have a true nucleus either. They are unicellular, which means they have one cell. They are autotrophic and heterotrophic. They basically live everywhere. They can live in very extreme environments, and they can live in also kind of like just regular environments. They are considered the true bacteria of biology, which means they're really like bacteria. They do have the same cell wall material as the Archaebacteria, and they reproduce asexually. So I have two examples of eubacteria. I have the E. coli. They're found in animal feces. I don't want to get too deep into that. They're also found in animal intestines and hot springs. They were discovered in Germany in 1844 by a Swiss scientist. They live in more warm and moist temperatures. That's why they're found in feces, hot springs, and animal intestines. They have rod-shaped bacteria. I'll show you an illustration in just a sec. They're easier to eradicate, which means to get rid of, because let's say you get some spring-like water that's been around, maybe E. coli, you could just boil that and use basic sterilization techniques to get rid of the E. coli, so they're really easy to get rid of. They can't really repopulate very easily either. E. coli makes us sick if we eat contaminated cheese or poultry, and the cells consist of an outer membrane. My next is the Yersinia pestis. It was discovered in Hong Kong, China in 1894 by a Swiss scientist again. So it's linked to causing he linked it back to causing the bubonic plague, which just raged in Eastern Europe in the 1300s. It's a pathogen, bacteria, which means it spreads from animal to animal. It's rod-shaped like the E. coli. It's gram-negative bacteria. These spread diseases from bites of rats or fleas or ticks, and can also be transmitted by the air. Bad symptoms include high fevers and guess that says, I don't know what it says. Here's the E. coli. As you can see, it is rod-shaped. And it uses flagellum to kind of move around. Alright. Here's the Yersinia pestis. It is also too rod-shaped, but they're also more bunched together. Alright, now on to the protists. We have the protist characteristics. They are eukaryotes. I'll explain that later in my glossary. They do have a nucleus. Most protists are unicellular, although I'd say about 7%. Yeah, 7% are multicellular. They are autotrophic and heterotrophic. I'll get to that in my glossary. They are part of the odds and ends kingdom. They can be protozoas, algae, fungus-like, just and multicellular. They do need water to survive, which is why they mainly live in ponds, because there's water in ponds. They do reproduce asexually and sexually. They're known as the junk drawer of biology. So I have four examples of protists. We have the amoeba proteus, and its common name is the sea god protus. Amoeba is just Greek, I think. Yeah, it's Greek. They're able to extend and contract into any shape. I'll show you an illustration of that later. They are colorless and transparent. They are found in clean ponds of fresh water. That's where they're located. And they are attracted to wheat products, which makes them easy to catch. Next, I have the Paramecium aurelia. They are unicellular organisms. They reproduce asexually and sexually. Their groups are found clustered together, which also makes them easy to catch. And they're used to identify by genetic data. Sorry if I look like a little tired, because it kind of took a while to do this whole assignment. I'll make it quick though. My next is the Pediastrum boreanum. Suck at this. Sorry. They have around 30 plus cells. The outer half of the margin cells are produced into two horn-like processes. Their cell walls can be granulate and smooth, which means kind of either rough or smooth. I have the blue-green algae, which are protists. They produce oxygen by a gas byproduct of photosynthesis. You should know what that means if you're going to be in milk science. They can be found in 96% of all terrestrial and aquatic habitats. They come in blooms of blue-green algae are toxic, so you don't want to get too close to those. It gets its color from the sunlight, so also photosynthesis. Here's the amoeba proteus. It is transparent and can move into any shape. Alright, and then next we have a blue-green algae. It's just all this in kind of the aquatic area of this pond. Yeah, it's bamboo. Alright, next on to our fungi. There are also two eukaryotes. They do have a nucleus. They are multicellular except for yeast, which is unicellular. They are heterotrophic. They digest food from the outside of their bodies. Alright. So I'm giving 4 examples of fungi, and they are varied. So my first is the Rigidoporus ulmarius. It's a plant pathogen found on broadleaf trees. It's the largest known fungal fruit body until 2011, when they found another one, I think, in Vietnam. Because you can find a lot of... Never mind. Alright, it's kind of this white, kind of knobby, like relatively hard. And it's like white tar that just kind of grows on the ground and grows on broad trees. Alright, so my next one is the Rhizopus stolonifer, and its common name is the black bread mold. It's found on moist bread surfaces, and it causes damage to the surface where it's located. It has asexual spores that are formed, and they have black tips on them. That's why it's called the black bread mold. And it spreads very quickly because the spores reproduce quickly. Alright, next I have the Amanita rubescens, and its common name is the blusher. I'll show you illustrations of that in just a sec. It just turns pink on it when it starts to bruise. That's why it's called the blusher. Its flesh is white, and it is edible, and it's found in North America and South America. Last one I have the Sarcosypha coconea. Its common name, I'm totally sorry, Miss Jameson, if I'm just pronouncing these all wrong. Its common name is the scarlet elf cup. It's found in the northern hemisphere. It grows on decaying sticks and branches. It has damp spots too that grow with it. It lacks sexual reproduction in life, so it reproduces asexually. It's edible. It's saucer-shaped, kind of, and can release thousands of spores to reproduce asexually. Alright, so here's the blusher fungi. See how it's kind of pink there? That's where it's been damaged, and that's why I call it the blusher. These are those kind of red cap shrooms that I was just barely talking about. See, they kind of grow in moist areas on the ground. Alright, now onto the plants. Alright, I'm kind of tired. Alright, so they are eukaryotes. They do have a nucleus. They're multicellular. They are autotrophic. They start the food chains, so that equals pretty much you don't have any life on Earth without plants. Thank you, plants. Alright, so I have 4 examples of the plants. We have the Rosa acularis, and its common name is the wild rose. It is a shrub, and its flowers that grow off it are pink. It's located in moist green areas. It has straight, slender thorns, and reproduces sexually from its seeds. It does use angiosperm, which basically means that its reproduction is found in seeds in an ovary. Next I have the Acer rubrum. Kind of like rubrum, saying that. Its common name is the red maple tree. Most common deciduous tree in America. It has red blooming leaves, and it needs a moist environment and acidic soil to survive. It reproduces using angiosperm like the rose. I have the Vaccinium macrocarpon. Its common name is the American cranberry tree. Its family is the Ericaceae. It produces edible cranberries. So get all your cranberries from the American cranberry tree. It's an evergreen shrub, and its flowers have both male and female organs to produce. Its common name is the tulip. Next we have the Opunitia ficantha, and its common name is the tulip prickly pear. It's located in southwestern United States and northern Mexico. It forms dense thickets for defense, so kind of spiny cactus type. It uses angiosperms to reproduce, and it produces prickly spines. Next, so my illustrations, I have the wild prickly rose. You can see it has pink leaves on it. Alright, pink flowers. I have the red maple right here. Alright. Then we have the American cranberry tree. Get all your cranberries from that. And then the tulip prickly pear, you can see it has cactus type spines, and then has a flower tulip. Alright, lastly we have Animalia, and then I'll get onto my glossary. So they are eukaryotes. They do have a nucleus. They're multicellular, and they are heterotrophic. They are the largest known kingdom with 1 million over species. So I'm going to do the characteristics of 5 phyla. I'm going to start off with the Echinodermata. So this phylum of marine animal, it's a phylum of marine animals. They have radial symmetry, which means it kind of goes in an arm all around them, so circular symmetry. It includes the starfish, sea urchin, sea cucumbers. There are about 7,000 plus, or above 7,000 living of this species. They use asexual reproduction, and they live in deep sea ocean parts. Next I have the Nematoda, and there are over 1 million of this species. They have tubular digestive systems and openings at both ends. They are located in marine, freshwater, soil habitats, and include all kind of types of worms and stuff. Except I will get on to the Annelida in a sec. So next we have the Mollusca. There are around 85,000 of this existent species. They're invertebrate animals, which means they don't really have a backbone. Or vertebrae, sorry. They are the largest marine phylum, and they consist of like the squid, cuttlefish, octopus, etc. They reproduce sexually. The structure of the nervous system is very diverse, which means it's not like ours. Next, the Annelida phylum. They're also known as ringed worms because they have segmented bodies. I'll show you an illustration later. They consist of earthworms, leeches, etc. There are about 7,000 modern species of this. They are formed in thermal vents and found in the soil. They can also be found kind of in moist areas. They are laterally symmetrical, which means up and down, not horizontally. They're scavengers and bloodsuckers. Lastly, I have the chordates. They possess a hollow nerve cord. They do have tails. They have pharyngeal pouches. I'll get to that in my glossary. They have an endostyle, also in my glossary. So here's the Echinodermata. They do reproduce. They reproduce asexually, alright? Okay, now. Here's the Nematoda. You got that right there. Alright, we have the Mollusca. That'd be like a wicked octopus. We have the Annelida, and you can see it's segmented, like a ringworm kind of, bunch of rings, segments. Lastly, we have the chordates, so like all fish and stuff. Alright, now on to my glossary. I have 10 words in my glossary. I have an endostyle, and that's coming from Animalia. It's a ciliated pair of grooves in various lower parts of chordates, and I just went over that. Unicellular, which was found in the Archaea bacteria and Eubacteria, it having or consisting of one cell. Prokaryote, which was the Eubacteria and Archaebacteria. It's any organism that has no nuclear membrane, no organelles in the cytoplasm, except ribosomes, and its genetic material comes in coils and loops. I have eukaryote, which is the protist, fungi, plantae, and animal. Any organism having any unit cell type that contains special organelles in the cytoplasm, having having a bound nucleus. I have heterotrophic, and this applies to all. It means capable of utilizing any organic materials as a source of food or energy. I have angiosperm, that's in the plantae. It's a plant having its seeds enclosed in an ovary, so that'd be like a flowering plant. I have the peptidoglycan, and that's archaea and eubacteria. It's a polymer consisting of sugars and amino acids. I have thermal from archaea and eubacteria, and it's a column of rising air in the layer of altitudes of the Earth's atmosphere. I have radial symmetry, which is symmetrical parts in radial form, like a radial arm. So that'd be Animalia, like the mollusks, and no, sorry, not mollusks, but Echinodermata, which would be that. Yeah. And then finally, I have the pathogen, which was in fungi. It's an infectious agent, more commonly known as a germ. Thank you guys for listening to my thing. I took like 20 minutes, so I'm sorry about that. Let's get back to class. Have a nice time.